Hello and welcome to the Rally Over Asian Racism concert. My name is Shieh and I'll be hosting today with my co-host.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? I'm Julian and I'll be your other host today.
Today we're live streaming here from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. In case you hear the cacophony of dirt bites outside, we'd like to let you know that it's not us, it's Philadelphia.
It's just the city. That's how
Just
it
the
is.
city. Of course, anti-Asian racism certainly isn't new, but unfortunately has increased since the pandemic. In light of the recent attacks towards the Asian American community, this concert is meant to raise awareness, come together, and fundraise for the AAPI community.
Just in time for the AAPI Heritage Month, the two organizations we are fundraising towards this afternoon is Stop AAPI Hate and Asian Americans Advancing Justice. The donation link will be provided in the chat box below.
The link to the donations is tinyurl.com/roarlivedonation. Once again, it is in the description box as well as the chat. Once you're on the donation page, input your name under username with no spaces and symbols, the amount that you want to donate, and a message. No account is needed. Hit donate and submit, and your donation will be called out on our live stream. Feel free to put anonymous if you want to remain privacy. In addition,
also, you can Venmo us at Roar Live Donation, as we will be accepting donations that way as well.
We have an incredible program lined up this afternoon. We have an amazing variety of artists, including a singer-songwriter, beatboxer, and a string quartet. But before we begin, let's take a look back at the victims who have suffered from these attacks in the last year.
71-year-old Asian grandmother violently shoved to the ground, just one of several attacks in California's Bay Area recently.
A wave of violence against elderly Asian Americans putting communities across the country on edge.
84-year-old Thai American Visha Ratanapakdi knocked over while out for a walk.
Rating, and he never wake up again. I never see him again.
And when the door opened, he stepped forward and slashed me.
This 91-year-old man brutally shoved to the ground in Oakland, California's Chinatown.
Attacks against Asian Americans
There have been
across
more
the
than
country.
2,500
crimes
incidents
against
of
Asian
anti-Asian
Americans in
hate
major
crimes.
This wasn't driven by
U.S.
economics. This was driven by hate.
There have been so many racially fueled attacks towards the AAPI community. It's so important that we come together during this difficult time to support the community in this time of need.
It's especially critical that we donate to help these victims. Once again, donation links will be in the description box and in the chat. And now a message from Impact's founder, Wendy Wu.
Welcome to the Rally Over Asian Racism live stream concert. This event is exclusively hosted by the International Musicians Performing Arts Cultural Troupe, also known as Impact for short. My name is Wendy Wu, and 10 years ago this June, I founded this nonprofit organization with the hope to bring music to the people. Over the last decade, we have developed creative programs integrating a unique blend of world cultures into our art through performances and events. We also have promoted cultural and educational exchanges between the U.S. and Asia. Through the years, Impact has worked with a variety of artists all across the world. I would like to extend a thank you to all our guest artists and our Impact staff working behind the scenes. During this turbulent time, it is even more important for us to come together, support each other, and work for change. I sincerely thank you for taking that first step for all of us. Many historians have pointed out that Asian racism is not unprecedented, but this should not be our future. Our enemy here is not you or me. Our enemy here is racism. And I think we can all agree that we will have a brighter future if all of us can feel as safe and secure and as valued as everyone else. It is our hope here at Impact that this concert will help generate awareness and a platform for the AAPI community and its allies. Thank you and enjoy the performance.
Warrior. Thank you, Wendy Wu. That was great. Now for our first act.
Our next artist is a vocalist, composer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, teacher, and scholar who is currently earning her master's in music at the Manhattan School of Music.
She's the front woman of her band, Tmrw, and the lead songwriter of an experimental art pop act. This is Tammy Huynh. Awesome. Thank you, Tammy, for that amazing performance.
Tammy, what inspired your passion for music?
Well, I think my passion for music stemmed from my passion for stories. I've always loved just all forms of storytelling, from written word to art, and of course, music. I think when I was younger, I would always imagine stories behind songs when I played them or listened to them. And today, all my music is centered around that love for stories, and music so happens to be the language I was best able to communicate them.
That is so beautiful.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is so poetic. And it sounds like that your music is also, in a sense, like a platform and a voice for yourself. So have the recent AAPI events have affected your music in that way and your inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the rise of all the hate crimes has weighed on my mind and heart these past few months, as it
Mhm.
has for a lot of us. And most of the music that I'm currently writing now revolves around our shared experiences and trauma. And as I said before, music is my favorite form of storytelling, and now more than ever, I think our stories need to be shared and heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, musicians play such a pivotal role in this day and age for sure.
Definitely. And moving on top of that, so have you been a victim of racism or know someone who has experienced that? And how has this influenced your life?
Yeah, I have been a victim. Most of my friends and family have been victims, and I think this influences our lives every day. Perhaps we don't consciously think about it all the time, but I think in this country, it will inevitably affect us every day. It's not always going to be direct violence towards our community,
Mhm.
um, but it will always be how we are treated on the day to day. Um,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
f- yeah, I feel we're constantly forgotten under our oppressors' feet. We're unseen, unheard, and not valued unless in service to those oppressors.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think we're always going to be victims under this country and system,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I definitely relate to that sentiment for sure. And it's very surprising. I think during a lot of these attacks, many people actually came up to me. I had no idea that Asians were going through certain situations like this. And it really is surprising. And this is exactly why your presence here is so important and why it's important for us to raise awareness and talk about it. So how has the increase in hate crimes and racism directly affected your work? Has it changed your viewpoint on things? Has it really made you, I guess, mourn for these victims? Like, how has that influenced your work directly?
I think it pushed me to really reflect on all these like experiences and feelings that I've felt just throughout the years. And I think just the culmination of feelings, just I knew I wanted to say something. And just, even before just our recent hate crimes or increase of hate crimes, I think this has always existed. Um, and I don't know whether it's the timing or just like whether I finally have like the maturity to really dig deep into just these experiences that we have.
Yeah, it definitely takes a certain amount of bravery for sure to be able to stand up and speak.
Oh, definitely, for
Yeah,
sure. And especially using your voice, not only
Yeah.
talking, communicating, using it through song, music.
yeah,
That speaks a lot louder too. You're using your
absolutely.
passion for that. So speaking of all that, unfortunately we're cutting short on time. So
Yeah.
you're an amazing individual. It was a pleasure hearing the music you create, hearing the music you make. So how can we find you? Do you have Spotify? Are you on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere on that?
Yeah, so I'm on Spotify, I'm on Bandcamp. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter. So my band name and just like artist handle is Mitamu,
Okay.
spelled Mitamu. And yeah, if you just search that on Spotify, you'll definitely find me.
Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you.
All of her Instagram handle for the audience is in the description box below. And let's give one more round of applause for Tammy Huynh, everybody. Woo!
Thank you so much for creating such a powerful platform for all of us. It was a
Absolutely.
true pleasure.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, if
All right.
anyone wants to, yep, bye. I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
It was nice meeting you.
Yes,
Thank you.
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
If anyone wants to donate on her behalf, please feel free to do so. Description links are in the description box below, and feel free to click on it, write in your name in the spot of the username with no spaces and no symbols, and submit that donation. We also have our Venmo, which is at Roar Live Donation, the same thing as the link's name.
Wow. Well, I'm still starstruck. That Tammy, amazing individual.
Yes,
Powerful
absolutely.
young woman, strong.
Yes.
And speaking of talented young women, our next act is a string quartet composed of 4 diverse, amazingly talented young women.
They also bring the spotlight on LGBTQIA community and Black, Indigenous, and people of color.
As passionate performers, this string quartet uses music to connect with the community. They include Tiffany Weiss and Emily Frederick on the violin, Brianne Lugo on the viola, and Sasha Ono playing the cello.
This is Lotus Chamber Music Collective. Wow, what a moving rendition of Sakura. I had Sakura stuck in my head all month, truly. It's a traditional Japanese piece, as we know, and it was a beautiful rendition, truly. So we have Sasha here today. It's the cellist of the Lotus Chamber Music Collective, and she's here with us to talk a little bit more about her experiences. Hello, Sasha.
Hey, Sasha.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah. So what made you and your ensemble choose this piece today?
We thought that it was really important for us to pick a folk song, that it would be really significant for this particular event. Folk music has such a long history and is so strongly tied to whatever culture it comes from as it's passed down from generation to generation. And it's such a beautiful and kind of reflective song that also symbolizes the coming of spring and the coming of hope of like a new season or a new era. And we are very hopeful that all of this awareness and action around AAPI hate and racism against all people of color will really bring forth a new and brighter time for all of us.
That is so beautiful. And you're absolutely right with folk music. I mean, it's pretty much stood the test of time. It's been around for, sometimes some folk songs have been around for centuries. So that is definitely a very appropriate selection for sure.
Yeah, and moving on, after COVID and everything that has happened from the past year, do you feel that the increased racism and hate crimes have affected you and your allies personally?
Definitely. I think that even the increase of awareness and the increase of seeing so many hate crimes in the news and just being such an intense part of all of our daily lives is just really weighs heavily on everyone. And it's hard to see so many people suffering in so many different ways, and especially as people of color, just this constant kind of reminder of the risk of your own safety and your family's safety is definitely just an added stressor. I know these hate crimes and racism we have been experiencing for such a long time. And it's great that there's a greater awareness about it in the world, which means that we can finally change things, but it is definitely difficult to just see and hear about it all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people really don't realize that for us, for minorities, we pretty much have to live it every single day. And for so many people, they don't conceptualize that. And it's so important for artists like you to definitely speak up and to really make and bring awareness to this issue for sure.
Definitely.
So do you feel that racism has affected directly in your career in any way? Has it hindered you from success or any sort of opportunities? And like, how has that really tied into your work in general?
I think just the nature of racism being so systemic that we kind of can't help by being impacted by it in all, areas of our lives. Specifically career-wise, I actually relatively recently went through an experience where I really witnessed a lot of racism and anti-Asian racism in my workplace, which got to the point where I just didn't feel comfortable staying, and I didn't feel that the organization took it seriously enough, and so I ended up leaving that particular organization. But in my own line of work as a musician, I have found music as a way, my own personal way of exploring how our history of racism in America and across the world, and found it as my tool to kind of study and really learn about it and just try to share my own experiences and things that I've learned through music.
Yeah, wow.
That's awesome. Actually, yeah.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I'm so happy to see that you've been able to, get over that hurdle for sure and spun it in a positive light. Where can we find more of your work and what can we expect from you?
You can find Lotus Chamber Music Collective on Instagram at Lotus CMC, on Facebook, and on our website, lotuscmc.org. We have a wonderful community. We sometimes get together for book club to study about music and musicians that we may not have heard of due to their race or gender. And we have a single coming out soon called Dreams. It's actually our first single called Dreams. It's inspired by and set to the words by the Langston Hughes poem Dreams, and features a jazz quartet called Momentum as well as us.
Wow, that's so amazing.
That's exciting.
That is
awesome.
So exciting. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Sasha Ono from the Lotus Chamber Music Collective, everybody.
Thank you, Sasha. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Sasha. That was amazing. I mean, so many of these artists are so involved and really, really vocal about all the events. It's so exciting, definitely. So our next performer is a self-taught aspiring guitarist with a strong passion in songwriting and collaborating with other artists to produce from all ends of the spectrum.
With the guidance of several Grammy Award-winning artists, Guillaume is just beginning. Stay tuned for his current project, where he's working on Det EP, Temple of the Stars. Ladies and gentlemen,
This is David Guillaume.
Longer than the soil's brown, further than untraveled route, more than I can say aloud. You were all the world to me, cooler than a summer night, brighter than a sunny sky. Darling, never leave my side. You are all the world to me. You are all the world. The way you light up the night. I don't even need the moon. You're the book I can't put down on a quiet afternoon. I showed you every side, and you're still here, my angel in disguise. You are many things, but most of all, you are mine. Richer than the Vatican, higher than the pyramids. Heaven sent the perfect gift. You are all the world to me. You are all the world. The way you light up the night. I don't even need the moon. You're the book I can't put down on a quiet afternoon. You know my heart, I showed you every side, and you're still here, my angel in disguise. You are many things, but most of all, you are mine. The way you light up the night, I don't even need the moon. You're the book I can't put down on a quiet afternoon. You know my heart, I showed you every side, and you're still here, my angel in disguise. You are many things, but most of all, you are mine. You are mine. The way you light up the night. Ooh. You're the book I can't put down on a quiet afternoon. You know my heart, I showed you every side, my meaning of the stars. It comes as no surprise that the lover of my life is my teacher, friend, and guide. You are many things, but most of all, you are mine. You are mine.
Yes, ask for
Wow, that was an amazing performance.
amazing performance.
Yes, on behalf of David and his band. And actually, we have David right here joining us today. What's up, David?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm super great. I'm excited. I'm really excited that you guys asked me to be a part of this. I think like one of the most important things when we're talking about like racism is the divide and conquer aspect. And I think that the reason why I think, like when you think about like, I guess if the enemy here is like white supremacy or like xenophobia, right?
Mhm.
There's more of them than us. There's more, I guess you could say like census others than people who are considered in the mainstream. So I think that the only reason why this has been allowed to go on for so long is because everyone's been kind of segmented in their corner. And I feel like hopefully we can really come to a place where we see like stewardship as a responsibility for all of us. Like I feel responsible for the person next to me and not just the person who's, you know, looks exactly like me, you know? So I think, yeah, we got to get that ball rolling in that direction. So I think it's awesome that we're doing stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and your band have been so supportive about bringing awareness, especially to this particular live stream, as well as like spread awareness on that. And, you know, we want to thank you definitely on behalf of our team for being so supportive and being so supportive towards the AAPI community for sure. And, you know, we wanted to ask you as an ally, how has racism affected you, and how can you guide others in terms of helping the AAPI community during this time of need?
Yeah, how much time do you have? Jesus. Yeah, you know, I am outside. I think I'm gonna pull the couch outside, lay out. It all started. Well, I think for me, there's and I'm sure for most people, there's kind of a macro and a micro effect. I think the micro effect is, I think it's insidious to the point to even the way you dress, the way you walk, the way you talk. If I can be on college and in the college, and I'm watching a 17-year-old named Trayvon who looks like my little brother. He looks like, I have people in my family who look like him. And the justification for killing him was, I mean, he was wearing a sweater. So, I mean, yeah, you had to kill him. So like watching that, how does that not affect your psyche, right? And that's one of the conversations I was having where it's like, okay, I'm wearing a bright floral shirt, right? Would I even really be wearing that floral shirt?
Oh, we have a little
some
lag time.
technical
A little bit of
difficulties.
technical difficulties. We'll wait for a moment. But in terms of donations, we've had $200 raised so far.
Holy!
I know. Oh, he's back. We're back.
David,
you're breaking up a little bit.
An expectation of, well, if I, oh yeah, it sounds like you're breaking up. But I guess the man.
Yep.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah,
I guess the man really doesn't want this stuff getting out, man. They're messing with my Fios and stuff. Shake his cables. All right. But okay, so let me get to the point. Right. So I feel that there have been larger things like, okay, for instance, I had a cop pull a gun on me in my, like they kicked down the door for an investigation that ended up being a bunch of nothing. I was 12 years old and I woke up to a grown man pointing an assault rifle at my face. So but being young and Black, I wasn't really shooken up at the time by the gun. I was more annoyed, like I have to get ready for school later and it's 6. So like turn the light off. The light was a flashlight. I didn't realize it. He had like one of those like police flashlights and it woke me up and he had the gun in my face. And I turned around and gave him a look like, what are you doing? So it really wasn't until, I mean, probably like a decade later that it hit me that I was like, I got dressed and went to school that day like it's nothing and just repressed the shit out of that until like, you know, and it's like, so then that ties into the, should I wear the floral shirt today or should I wear the black hoodie that makes me look like Trayvon, right? So it's like, I think that the reason that these experiences happen, you know, but I don't want to, you know, talk too much about my experience because I feel like this is really more about a team thing, but I do feel that these negative experiences are important because they kind of show you that there isn't really a justification for, I guess, BS. but to give my other bandmates their flowers, I should really point out that we're not even really officially a band. These are just people that I went to school with and I thought were talented musicians, and I thought they were nice people. And I reached out to them and I just said, hey, we're doing an event and it's going to benefit the AAPI community. Are you available? And they all immediately said, yes, of course, yes, yesterday, like, let's go. You know, I'm not, you know, that great of a salesman. I just presented them the option, like, hey, would you want to do this? As kind of like, yeah, and they all immediately jumped at the chance to do it. So that's what I think kind of speaks to the point I was saying earlier about stewardship. And I think we're getting to the point where we all kind of realize this on some level, that it's not good enough. Like, I think it's important to make sure that we're all looking out for each other. And I think that starts somewhere. So yeah, and also I like the idea of it not just being me and being people from different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah.
Everyone in the videos coming from a different cultural background, a different ethnic background.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we all have kind of like a same understanding of, like, I mean, we're all we got, you know?
Exactly.
And, you know?
Help
Yeah.
each other out, right? Like help your neighbor out, help everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah, for sure.
David, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but that's all the stuff we have. Just real quick, real quick, where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. I'm releasing new music all the time. This song that you guys just heard, "You Are Mine," will be coming out soon. You can follow me at DaveWillMusic333 on Instagram, and yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much. I know you said this isn't just you, and this is more like kind of like a team thing, but hearing your perspective, hearing your side, it's always great to know that, you know, there's someone out there who probably will share the same perspective as you, and it's amazing that you're coming forward and letting us know your side of your story, you know. So
Sure.
Thank you again, David. Everyone,
Thank you.
David Guillaume.
David Guillaume.
Great meeting you guys.
Great meeting you.
Great meeting you
Thank
too.
you.
All right, see ya.
Bye. Well, I mean, that was very insightful.
Yeah.
Very, very insightful.
That was great. Even though we had that little technical difficulty, it was great. And also, just a reminder, IG handles will be found below in the description. So, you know, if you hear any of these artists and you're interested, definitely check them out. So
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Each and every single one of them is all in the description box below.
And speaking of, we're going to move on to our next act. Our next act is a Korean-American singer-songwriter who uses her music to reach others and promote vulnerability and healing.
Inspired by her favorite artists, Phoebe Bridgers, Frank Ocean, and now her beautifully written soulful music stands out, bringing indie pop, ambient, sultry atmosphere to the mix.
Big fan of Frank Ocean.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, make sure to watch out for her new EP as she presents to the world her coming in, telling a story of grief, shame, and desire through her music. This is Aeri.
Hi, my name's Aeri, and this is River. There's a place in north, the blues so bright, sky is higher the sighs, and pain is pacified. Inside it's cracked and dry. Make it home to find shelter from myself. Do you hear me? I'm talking to you. I deny the lightness of it. Why do you live in your loss? Embrace the freedom of the current. Wash over me like a starving seed needs a river, needs a river. Hypnotize deep and run through me like a river, like a river. I can't make sense for parasites. Sometimes I wanna drown, nothing ever scares me more. I know I'm already there. Do you hear me? I'm talking to you. There's a person bigger than your view. Stop chasing blind divinity. You're home when you welcome in. Wash over me like a starving seed needs a river, needs a river. Hypnotized deep and run through me like a river, like a river.
That was such a soulful performance.
Yeah.
Well, with us here now is Aeri, and she's here to talk a little bit about herself as well as her experiences. Woo!
Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh, wait.
No.
Sorry.
I'm waiting on you, Julian.
I had a huge
Julian
brain fart.
complained about not.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask the
more,
question.
so.
Thank you so much for being here. Oh my God, this is great. So real quick, we'll start it off. What is your favorite aspect about your new EP coming out?
Yeah, this EP is my first one, and I'd say my favorite part is how much I'm learning about myself.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I think every part of the way, from writing to editing to producing to now collaborating and bringing it to the world, I think in the point of creation, revisiting, sharing, there's so much within the own things that I've created that reveal itself to me over time. So I think that's definitely a fun part. And I think another part just being around collaboration and working with other awesome artists.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it's not one part. It's like a whole journey.
It's indeed. And it's also not easy to, write your own EP and to do everything and from beginning to end, this entire project. That's actually very impressive. I'm sure the audience can also really see how impressive of a feat that is, to be able to create this one item. But just a few questions about being a member of the AAPI community. What does being a member of the AAPI community mean to you specifically?
Yeah, that's a really loaded question for me, I feel like, because I think I'm figuring it out. I think I'm in that process right now. For me, my entire life, internalized whiteness manifested in many ways, and one of them is really kind of diverting from my culture and my identity. And it's not until more recently that I really am stepping into that, exploring that. And so I think especially now, really kind of exploring what that means. But, with that said, I think API is such a diverse kind of umbrella of a community. But I think one thing that we share is is like shared resilience and shared multidimensionality and imagination, like being very caught between different cultures and identities and experiences. And I think we, as this generation too, are creating a lot of newness. And so, yeah, exploring that alongside all of y'all.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's a lot of like audience members who feel the same exact way. You know, like for so many Asian Americans, we are also still exploring our identity. It's it's an identity of two parts of duality. And it's actually really difficult for us, especially if you're a first generation or a second generation Asian American, to definitely explore and see what that means for sure.
Oh yeah. And I'm on that boat right now. I'm still trying to understand this whole thing, understand, you know, how I could help and what being Asian American actually truly means to me. So on top of that, like as you're processing, as you're transitioning, really understanding what being an AAPI member in the community means to you, what are some like words you would encourage others to do to really fight in this AAPI racism?
Yeah, I think the thing that comes to mind most quickly is kind of exploring the internalized ideologies of white supremacy within our own bodies. It's so easy to kind of abstract ourselves from the issue and say it's other people perpetuating it, and also thinking about these issues in silos when they're all connected. Our experiences as AAPI people, queer people, Black Indigenous people, all stem from the same kind of framework and scaffolding of white supremacy, and we all also kind of contribute to it. So I would say, yeah, exploring within it is what I would say.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's really well said, especially, you know, sometimes we have to look within ourselves to truly understand what's happening around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that said, where can people find you? What is the works you have out or up and coming? So. Yeah,
I think the best place to follow me is on Instagram. It's _AERI__. I have an EP coming out in a few weeks, so if you follow me there, you'll find all the information to my Spotify, etc.
That's amazing. And just to let the audience know, all of Eddie's information, her Instagram handle is in the description box below. So feel free to please follow her on Instagram so we can keep updated on her new music. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Eddie. And let's give one last round of applause for her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll see you hopefully in the future for sure. Now for our next performer, Tony Nguyen, also known as Wind Meets the West, is a Brooklyn-based Vietnamese singer, songwriter, producer, and writer.
With his music, he connects with his audience through the shared emotions and feelings. Technicolor, his latest single, was released in November of 2020 and can be found on most platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music.
This is Wind Meets West. Woo!
Hi, my name's Tony and I make music under Wind Meets West. And this is a song for all the immigrant kids out there. You know, growing up, I didn't really have a lot of options for my parents. It was like doctor, lawyer, engineer. And as I went through life, I kept believing that those are my only options. I went to school, got a CS degree like, you know, all the smart kids, and was just deeply, deeply unhappy. And I realized over the course of my life that my parents don't have anything wrong with them. It's not that they care and they want what's best for me. They grew up living a life where stability was the key to happiness. Stability was what you aspire to. But the song I wrote, it's acknowledging that, yes, your parents want what's best for you, but sometimes they don't know what the other options are. They didn't grow up in the world where we could do things like be musicians and think about anything other than surviving. We have that privilege as immigrant kids to find self-actualization. And this is what the song is about. It's called Tmrw. It's my latest single.
My life's more than just a bank account, more than all my self-doubt. It's out before crashing down. When I wake up in the afternoon, feel then trapped inside my bedroom. I don't know what to do. The dream my parents had for me doesn't fit what I believe. There's so much more to see. All the possibilities on the road ahead of me. 'Cause one day you'll see, tomorrow will be the day. Tomorrow will be the day. Now that you're not around, what will my dreams amount to? It's more than what you found, yeah. Living somewhere in the clouds, waiting for it to come crashing down. I'm living in the now. If I crash, I can take it. Better than not taking a chance on myself. A chance on myself. The dream my parents had for me doesn't fit what I believe. There's so much more to see, yeah. All the possibilities on the road ahead of me. 'Cause one day you'll see, tomorrow will be the day. Tomorrow will be the day. Ooh, 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 ooh. Tomorrow will be the day. I know I'll fly. I know I'll be alright. I know I will fly. I know I'll be
Wow, and we're back. What a great performance. Yeah,
Yes,
seriously.
definitely.
You know, lucky for us, today we have Win Meets West here with us. And yeah, thank you so much for that moving performance.
Absolutely. I think a lot of us first and second generation kids who grew up in America definitely relate to what you said about having limited options as career choices. I mean, we're both bio majors, so we get
Yeah.
it, you know. STEM majors, woo! But how did that actually affect your relationship with your parents when you decided to pursue non-traditional career paths?
Yeah, so when I decided to switch from software engineering into music full time, it was like I just had to let go. And this is something that I think a lot of folks, Asian folks who I know do the arts, they have to let go of the idea of being the bad kid, like the letting your parents down, and realize that like, and I know now, and it's a long journey, but if you're out there and you're like, I'm not sure if this would like be parent approved, remember that they will come around because they love you. My parents have come around, even though they are more in disbelief. Like I always say that my parents support me, but they don't understand. Like they don't understand why I picked the quote unquote harder path, but they support me regardless. And it'll take a little time, but I promise. And if your parents really love you, and most of them do, if they really love you, they'll come around. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think Julian and I both relate to that. Definitely. I'm myself a musician, and Julian actually has a podcast. So
Yeah,
you know,
so
we
definitely
definitely
different career paths than what we originally set out for.
we don't even do bio anymore. I
Yeah,
mean, we just
seriously.
ditched that.
He said, thank you for the degree. Thank you. Next. But anyway, moving on. You posted recently on your Instagram story about the story of how your parents came to America. How have you come to balance your identity and heritage as a Vietnamese American, as well as learning about your parents' journey?
Yeah, so my parents' journey is piecemealed because they never really directly told me about anything. It was all like implied hardship. And I think that's like the most like powerful thing about intergenerational trauma is they don't need to tell you, you feel it. And that's like when I felt the whole weight of I need to be the best. I need to like make my parents proud. I need a stable life. I need to not have them worry about me. So as I was growing up, and as much as I love the resilience I've inherited from them and being Vietnamese American and like, you know, knowing how to get stuff done, like growing up, I had to unlearn a lot of the toxic things that came with that, which is like, you're always working too hard. You always are looking to the next step. I'm still unlearning that. And like, also like what is valuable, because a lot of the times I'm still working through it, but like what's valuable is like what people can see on the outside. Like, oh, like, did you write for Rihanna yet? Like,
Yeah, I know.
versus like this community we're building, like that stuff our parents don't really understand has value because they weren't allowed to give that value. So I think about that a lot of like, I take the resilience they gave me and the hardworking mindset they gave me, but also balancing with the unlearning of like, okay, I am not a first generation immigrant. I do not need to live just on survival. I can live on thriving as well. I'm picking the path that I personally deserve and I know I can take on.
That is so well spoken. I'm so glad that you definitely put that into words. I think so many Asian American kids, first generation, second generation kids, they don't realize that, and they're constantly, you know, working twice as hard, 3 times as hard, sometimes not even to please their parents, to just kind of keep the momentum going and to make sure that you know, they do what they were raised to do, essentially. So it's so amazing that you definitely like brought to light of that. I think that's a very unique Asian American struggle for sure, definitely. Just a quick question too. I know there's a lot of members in our audience who really want to support the AAPI community. What would you suggest to them, and how, and in terms of how they can help?
So as an activist myself, I think some of the most powerful activism you can do is not necessarily, I mean, go donate, go do all that stuff, spread awareness, share the stuff on Instagram, you know, but some of the most important conversations are the conversations you have with your inner circle, because those are the people you are most likely to change. Like, for example, I talk to my parents a lot about anti-Blackness, about how they like are homophobic and all this different stuff. It's like the difficult stuff. Like, I am personally pansexual, and like talking to them about like, hey, I'm not gonna die of AIDS. I'm a normal person. I'm still the same kid you raised. Like stuff like that. Really difficult and emotionally taxing, but that's some of the most powerful activism you can do. So
absolutely, yeah. Information and education is so key always. So where can we find more of your work? Where can the audience find more of your work, and what can we expect from you in the future?
yeah, for sure. So Wind Meets West on all the platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. So if you want to see me perform, I play live on Twitch every Tuesday. Also, every musician you see on the stream is who's on Spotify. Hit that follow button. One of the most underrated ways to support any indie musician. So please follow me on Spotify. And my next single comes out June 25th. It's called Stay Friends. I'm releasing it with a Korean-American singer-songwriter named Husn Nawabi. And it's about like, you know, in the pandemic, we've just, you know, you have those friends that slowly drift apart, not because of any like negative reason, but just because your lives are diverging. So we explored that and like, oh, I wish we stayed friends, even though like our lives aren't aligning.
Sometimes
it happens very organic. Yeah. I mean, that sounds really exciting and really interesting for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on this live stream. We really appreciate that, especially your insights as well. So let's give it up one last applause for Wind Meets West.
Oh, thanks, fam. Bye-bye.
Pleasure meeting you. Wow, that was very insightful. Truly, that was something. I think he shared a lot of things that a lot of us Asian Americans really feel on the inside, as for sure, definitely. So let's introduce our next performer.
I'm just happy. We're meeting a lot of amazing people.
I know, we really are. What a journey!
This is great.
I hope the audience is also getting a kick out of this for sure. Yep. I mean, we've learned so much just from our few artists already.
Seriously, yes. I mean, shout out to not only the artists, but the audience as well. Like, thank you. Without any of you, this wouldn't be possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So, with that said, moving forward, our next performer has mastered balancing his career as an athlete and musician. Ivan Polanco is a New York-born singer, songwriter, drummer, guitarist, martial artist, Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on. Certified personal
know.
trainer and nutrition coach.
That is so impressive.
Yeah.
Bringing to the stage a unique blended style of pop and R&B, Ivan has already released 5 albums, all streaming on most music platforms. That is so incredible. I mean, does this man sleep, truly? He is always excited to share about his experiences, fitness journey, and music. Give it up for Ivan Polanco. Woo!
Baby, there's a portrait that you're painting, and it just ain't fair. Dreaming, disillusion. I'm a man who really just don't care. Love that I give you all the time, girl, no matter when or where. So baby, are you crazy? Don't say that, baby, don't you dare. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it. Now I can't seem to see your everything could be such a vicious onslaught. Flames don't let me in, even when I try to provide. You're finding ways to manipulate everything I give you into lies, and I'm just so tired. Swear and tear on my heartstrings, girl. Your disapproving's there, so in all these lies, just one truth. The only thing I need to do is leave you. Baby, there's a portrait that you're painting, and it just ain't fair. Dreaming, disillusion. I'm a man who really just don't care. Love that I give you all the time, girl, no matter when or where. So baby, are you crazy? Don't say that, baby, don't you dare. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it. Now me as a person, I'm a self-made man. Do what I have to when I say what I can. It's a never-ending grind on the music scene. Sick another plan to support my big dreams, but you refuse to understand. I'm doing everything possible to provide. As a man, I cook, I clean, girl, pay my bills, so I'm working 60 hours a week. How about you? You say that you work from home. The only work I ever see you do is texting on your phone. Your past boyfriends used to pay your bills. Let me tell you something, sweetie, keeping it real. You won't be your love. It's a two-way street. I'm making time for you, but you don't do it for me, so you wanna be my queen. You act like a peasant. Get out of my life, girl. I'ma teach you a lesson. Come on. Hey. Come on, come on. Woo! I don't claim to be the perfect man. I know that times get tough, but I can't stand to be the one to blame again. I've had enough. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right, girl. Get it right, girl, yeah, get it right.
Amazing performance, so lively. I always love watching Ivan. He's got such a vibe, definitely. And we're so lucky to have him here today on our live stream.
Hey Ivan, what's up?
Hey Ivan.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you for sure. So Ivan, how were you able to find a balance between being an athlete, a martial artist, and a musician?
Seriously,
I mean,
how?
All three require so much time. It's truly very impressive.
Yeah, how? Tell what
you guys. No, honestly, it's all both fitness and music have always been a part of my life ever since I was a little kid. I started writing songs, playing music at the same time I was taking an interest in playing sports. So since I was 4 or 5 years old, I've kind of been doing what I love to do, which is hit stuff, lift stuff, and also sing songs and express my creative side as well through music.
That's so
it's ingrained in who I am at this point now.
Completely different sides for sure. So pretty much muscles and music.
Muscles and music. That's a beautiful combo. But anyway, after COVID and everything that has happened for the past year, how do you feel that the increased racism and hate crimes have affected you and your allies personally?
Sure. it's interesting because I am someone who is multi-ethnic. I don't, as of right now, you know, when I was younger, I definitely represented more maybe my Asian heritage just based on my physical features, but I'm of Filipino and Dominican descent. So I've always, there we go. What's up, my brother? Interestingly enough, I've always felt like I have a feet in both worlds, of course, but it's been tough to kind of find my footing with some aspects of the Filipino community. Mostly everyone is very welcoming, but you know, I do look different. And then with the Latino community, it's kind of the same thing. They're welcoming, but there are a few outliers who kind of point and like, you're different. There's something different about you. But you know, during COVID and seeing what has unfolded with the attacks against people who are Asian in this country, it's really hurt. Especially because thankfully my grandparents are here, my Filipino grandparents, that is. And I think about them. I think about, them going throughout their day, minding their own business. And, if God forbid, if something ever were to happen to them, how furious I would be. But how it's impacting me personally, it's hurt deeply. It was hard enough to see what was happening with the Black community, with the Black Lives Matter protests, and how police brutality became such a thing that was finally getting the recognition that it deserves, that we could spread more of a message out there for, fighting back against, racism essentially within the government and our just in all aspects of our day of life, our way of life. So within the Asian community, it's very much the same. We need positive role models that can stand up, and not that I, want to be the speaker for people who are multi-ethnic, but as someone who proudly carries both heritages, I just want to do my best to be a positive influence. So I want to speak out, and I want to make sure that my voice is heard and that my loved ones are protected as well.
Absolutely. And it's so critical, especially for everyone and artists just like you who speak out and make sure you raise awareness that this really is an issue. And it hurts us. It hurts everybody in this community when we see that there are people out there who look like our relatives, who look like us, and they're getting hurt and they're getting attacked. And it's so critical for sure. What is something, I guess, you would encourage how you would encourage others to do to fight against AAPI racism?
Sure. You never know what can happen on any given day. So more than anything, obviously being aware of your surroundings is one thing, but if that idea of, if you see something, say something, it just carries such a deeper message, especially now. I myself I wouldn't consider myself someone who looks for confrontation. I don't enjoy confrontation. Even as someone who's a martial artist, and I liked feeling that confidence and knowing how to protect myself, but I don't like getting in people's faces, and I don't like, when I have to be the one to kind of intervene. But to face that fear in an effort to help save somebody, or just to help someone feel like if they're being oppressed, or if someone's kind of following them or bothering them, that they have support behind them, whether it's physically, but more so even just like in a community aspect. Like I can stand with somebody and be like, hey, look, I got your back if anything happens. Like seeing something and saying something and stepping up against that fear, as I think something that we all need to face. And beyond that, taking advantage of the fact that there's so many resources out there to learn how to defend yourself. I think within the Asian culture, not everybody, fits this quote unquote stereotype, but, at least within my family, not everybody is as comfortable with confrontation as well. But studying martial arts, even if it is just a self-defense class here, or seeking out friends, or even looking up YouTube videos of tutorials on how to have a safe distance from somebody and know how to get out of certain grips, or whatever it is that gives you confidence physically within your body to stand up for yourself. I say go for it, as long as it helps you feel that confidence to protect yourself and help stand by someone else who might be in need.
Definitely. Ivan, that was very well said. Well, unfortunately, we have to cut everything short with these Q&As. So, but before we do that, where can people find you? What gym are you going to be at? What can people in the audience expect from you in the future?
Sure. So if anybody's interested in checking out more of my music, all of my music is available on all streaming platforms. So my website is ivanpolanco.com, and you can follow me on Instagram at ivanpolanco.musicfit. My social media is dedicated to not only my music, but also my fitness. So whether you like working out or you like pop and R&B music, I got your back. And I do have some more original music coming out this year as well. I have a new album I'm going to be releasing soon. So please follow, let's stay in touch, and I'd love to make some new friends.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us here today, Ivan. It's been a pleasure. And one last time, everyone, this is Ivan Polanco.
Ivan Polanco.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Have a good night.
And as always, you can find his information in the description box below. Don't forget, if any of the artists have resonated with you, please feel free to donate on their behalf or donate in support of them. It's now time for the Mad Minute.
Speaking of donations.
Indeed. We are now reaching the portion of our program known as the Mad Minute. For everyone watching, we will start a timer for exactly 60 seconds. During those 60 seconds, let's see how much we can donate and raise awareness and for this entire cause.
This is what this whole event was, right? We're one, raise awareness, two, raise some monies, right?
Yes, exactly. So, of course, you can access the donation link in the description box below. The link to the donations is tinyurl.com/roarlive-donation.
Also, if you are a Venmo user, you could Venmo us at Roar Live Donation.
Yes, that's correct.
I know. I pay attention to these things. I got you.
Yes, of course. So, with that being said, please, everyone, go onto the donation page and, if possible, put down a username. Do not include any spaces or symbols, and it'll link you to your PayPal account. If you do not have a PayPal account, feel free to use Venmo. But let's see if we can try to get as many donations in this 1 minute as we can. Now, let's start the clock, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's get it.
All right, I'm starting it, Julian.
All right, we're starting in 3,
2, 1. Go! We're gonna play some music in the meantime and get this going. Let's get those donations in.
Whoa! Who's donating? Are you gonna donate?
I'm gonna donate.
I don't know.
Did you donate?
I don't have my phone, but if I had my phone, I'd definitely donate. I did actually donate like $5.
All right, let's get that. Let's get that music pumping. Here we go.
In the city of brotherly love, I am a tiger.
30 seconds left. Let's see if we can get those
Rocky
donations
spirit,
in.
you know, do it. Do it for the community.
We got $600 raised so far. Let's see if we can make it to the next 100. Let's see if we make it next 200.
Wait, 600?
Yeah.
600? No, that's 700. 700.
10 seconds left. See if you can keep it up.
10 seconds?
10 seconds. 6 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you so much to everybody who donated.
Wow.
And by all means, if you want to donate by the at any point of the program, you can always find the link in the description box. Please share this link with other people. Let's see if we can try to raise as much money as possible.
Yes.
The two organizations that we are donating to is Stop AAPI Hate and Asian Americans Advancing Justice. It is so critical, once again, that if you can possibly $5, $10, even $20, if you can actually donate to these organizations, they can really help, and they can really help to support the AAPI community, especially during this time in need.
Yeah.
And plus, it's trendy.
May
is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It is relevant. Very relevant, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you please tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, your loved ones. Tell that person across the street that you wanted to talk to but just didn't know about it.
Make an excuse to talk with them.
Exactly. But yeah, that was our Mad Minute. That was a Mad Minute.
Absolutely, it was. Well, thank you so much.
We're at 600.
I believe we're at. I mean, we'll get notifications
we'll get an update. We'll get an update soon.
But
yes, thank you everyone.
Thank you. Yes, thank you everyone for donating. And now we're gonna go back to the program.
Wow, that was great. Anyway, moving on, back to the program. Our next performer is a Filipino-American singer, songwriter, artist, and audio engineer based in Philadelphia.
That's right.
Woo! Lukey blends the dreamy soundscapes of indie pop, the melodies and heart in folk and alternative R&B. Yes, with the influences from his unhinged love for hip hop.
Coming in at over 40,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, his most popular works include PEACHSUN and Honey Dream, all in caps, of course, and has recently released his latest EP, Periwinkle, back in October of 2020. Talk about being productive during the pandemic.
Seriously.
Give it up for
Lukey!
Lukey!
All right. What's up, y'all? My name is Lukey. This is Nick from Space on bass. David Pirozzi of Pinstripe Sunny fame on keys, and my good friend Joshua Bation on drums. Thank you, Impact USA Music, Impact Music USA. Love y'all. Thank you for having me at your festival for Roar, creating awareness for solidarity against anti-Asian hate crimes and everything. And we're just gonna play a song for y'all tonight. This is called PEACHSUN, and I hope you enjoy it. 1, 2. And personal to see her face light up. Ooh, she's a lightning mood. Shine, oh no, careful of white wonder, chasing after summers from the city to Toluca. Don't you steal a thunder? Don't you steal a thunder? Wake up at the right, looking at my life. Who say it was fun? And on and on, we gotta keep the love. Take your time, you got your whole life. Put faith in the sky, on and on, gotta keep the love. Yeah. And butterflies, I'm turning. Go, spin around like vertigo. How could I feel so certain? Yeah, so ambivalent when it's time with you. It's so innocent. What has got a bag of a Pegasus? Barrel we could coalesce with the lavender. Was blow out, gotta get her O's out, we never hold up. Everything is done, wake up at the right, looking at my life. Who say it was fine? And now we gotta keep the love. Yeah. Baby, take your time, you got your whole life. Put faith in the sky. On and on, we gotta keep the love. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing
Wow, that was great.
performance.
That was
The
great.
band was vibing, we were vibing, everybody vibing.
I was vibing. I felt like I was listening to Lukey in person. Oh wait, I've done that before. Lukey!
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, Lukey here. What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going. I'm doing great. How are y'all doing? Y'all hydrated?
I mean, yeah, we try to stay hydrated. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got the drinks here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh, say less. Ah, it's perfect. So yeah, before everything we go into it, Lukey, tell us a little bit about your inspiration as an artist and what motivates you.
For sure. I feel like in terms of music or just art in general, I've always gravitated towards storytelling, and I think all my life since I was a kid, I always like creating things from like little books, stories, like drawings, like indie video game design, all that type of stuff in the past, and then ultimately I arrived at music, and I think the fabric of like what makes my music are like great songwriters and artists such as Frank Ocean, Tmrw, one of my favorite artists, and like I like the production of like Daft Punk and Pharrell and Kanye, all the the typical producers that people mention and name drop. Like they're definitely like super inspiring to me. And I think like most recently, like a lot of what I'm inspired by is like Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell, and all that type of stuff, because I really love how vivid and descriptive like their storytelling is. And ultimately, dating back to like way back, like when I was like figuring out how to like do music, I was like really just watching like the YouTube Asian American songwriters of like AJ Raphael, and David Choi. Yeah.
Yeah, the classics.
The classics, we love Lemonade. Shout out to Jeremy. Not kidding. But anyway, so like, yeah, I'd say also my daily life, obviously, my experience as an Asian American, Filipino American, is like the centerpiece within everything that I do. It's not just music that influences music. I think everything influences me, whether it's like movies and literature and just going outside, seeing the blue sky, seeing my homie Julian right there, that's inspiring,
Bro, you inspire me. You motivate me, bro.
Come on, man.
No,
but yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, that's like, I think that's definitely very amazing. And we can see the Daft Punk influence, obviously, on the back wall. And the Stevie Wonder, too.
Yeah, songs keep life. Great album.
Well, we wanted to ask, you mentioned how being Asian American definitely influences your artistry. And so how does being a member of the AAPI community, what does that mean to you? And how does, and in so many ways, a lot of the previous artists, they mentioned about how being a minority has in many ways hindered them from a lot of opportunities. And has that also occurred to you as an artist?
Absolutely. I'd say I've listened to everyone's interview too, and I pretty much agree with everyone with what everyone's saying. I think for me, I've grew up in a majority suburban white environment where I feel like I've internalized like whiteness and like kind of erasing or like trying to deviate from my Filipino culture, because cliche, but a lot of us were embarrassed, we were ashamed to like show our food sometimes, stuff like that. But like I think recently, and as I grew up and as I post high school, I got to meet so many dope people of color and just different walks of life, and you can see it also like growing in terms of representation in mainstream media with like Shang-Chi, the new Marvel movie coming out soon, Minari, Yellow Rose, and artists like Mitski, Japanese Breakfast, or Michelle Zauner also wrote a book called Crying H Mart, and I still have to get it, but I'm really excited to read that. But like, yeah, Idiot Rising is also like I guess like a good example of like Asian American stories or Asian stories in general being publicized to a wider audience. But with that said, like there's a lot of work to be done. I've definitely fell victim to so many moments of assimilation that have hindered me from embracing myself fully, you know what I mean? And I'm still to this day trying to figure that out. I definitely have a much more solid foot on the ground of who I am and what I represent, and I think the tug of war, mental warfare, I think you mentioned it before, like the duality of being Asian American. I feel like a lot of what our experience is kind of unique because we in a way relate to many of the other people of color's struggles, not entirely obviously, and not to like compare our different ways of being oppressed by systemic racism and all that, but like I feel like that's just even a more beautiful reason why we need to speak out as people, at the end of the day. And being Filipino, at the end of the day, Asian American is a superpower. You know, I feel like it's we're a lot of what I write about is straight from the source of being who I am, and everything that I've experienced up until this point, whether it's like falling in love or more severe, I guess, which is like, you know, racism against me and all that type of stuff. So very surface level of like what it means to be Asian American or being Asian in general. Like it's a plethora of different things, but that's the gist I guess say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well
I mean,
said.
it was definitely a very complete answer, and it echoes a lot of what the previous artist said, and a lot of how we personally feel too as Asian Americans. So, can you let the audience know where can we find more of your work?
I am in Spotify, Apple Music, and Instagram. So basically, Lukey, Lukey. Just you can search it, and I might be I hope I'm the first thing that appears. Anyway, yeah, shout out to all the Lukeys out there, whoever you are. But my Instagrams, my Twitters and all that is at Lucas Janiza. You can find me on there. I am working on 2 new projects right now. Yeah, just be on the lookout. I'm definitely releasing stuff next month in June. I don't want to say a lot, but like I got music videos, a short film, and all that stuff I'm working on right now, and I'm just really excited to share. And honestly, this is a great start to everything, and I appreciate you, Christine and Julian, for organizing, and of course the back end, everyone who's involved in this event. Like y'all are very special, and thank you for having me. It's very humbling to represent, you know.
Well, yeah, thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. I mean, just letting the audience know, Lukey has been so collaborative with us, and he's been so supportive. We just gotta give a shout out. The love is real.
He's so pokey too. I love it.
No, you mad? That's good. No, but no, thank you again. This is a awesome thing. I'm really glad to be part of it. I'm really glad to be a part of this community.
Awesome,
Yay,
bro. Yeah.
amazing.
One final thanks, and ladies and gentlemen, this was Lukey. So thank you.
Yes, this was Lukey, everyone.
See ya.
Peace.
As always, you can find his information in the description box below. And of course, if you want to donate on Lukey's behalf, if you were inspired by a lot of the things he said, please feel free to access our donation link or send donations through Venmo. Everything is active currently at the moment, and make sure you remember, for username, you absolutely do not need an account. No account needed.
No.
Just put in your name without any spaces or any symbols and submit your donation. All right, on to our next act,
Well,
right?
real quick, fun fact, Lukey performed with AJ Raphael. So to all the people out there who know AJ Raphael.
Wow, that's a throwback. That's definitely a throwback for sure.
Huge throwback. But anyway, what a great guy.
Yeah, so let's see what's next on our program.
Anyway, we're moving on.
Julian was just so excited.
I'm so
about
excited.
Lukey. He was just contain yourself. We have to move on now.
My heart.
So now for our next performer is a prominent music producer, composer, a songwriter in genres spanning from Bollywood all the way up to R&B and pop.
He is rising. Not the rising, but he is rising to the spotlight, having collaborated with various artists and released over 5 singles.
And as the founder and instructor of Sonic Sounds, an online music academy for musicians, Arpit shares his love and knowledge for music with his growing platform and reach. This is Arpit G. Woo!
Yeah, let's go. तेरा हुस्न नवाबी लगदा कोई करू खराबी तुरदी जब लक मटका के तक गबरू होण शराबी बुण ठुण के कुड़िए जद गली शहर नु जावे नी तेरे टाउन दा हर एक गबरू पिछे आवे नी मेरे इस दिल दी कुड़िए तेरे हत्थ च चाबी है दस दे सब नू मिठिए तू मेरे यारा दी भाभी है तेरा ए हुस्न नवाबी तेरा ए हुस्न नवाबी लगदा कोई करू खराबी तुरदी जब लक मटका के तक गबरू होण शराबी तेरा ए हुस्न नवाबी लगदा कोई करू खराबी तुरदी जब लक मटका के तक गबरू होण शराबी तेरी ठोडी ते जो दिल का लाओ कैर मचावे नी तेरे हुस्न दे आगे मेरी कोई पेश न जावे नी तेरी ठोडी ते जो दिल का लाओ कैर मचावे नी तेरे हुस्न दे आगे मेरी कोई पेश न जावे नी गग्गी दी हुण इक ना चलदी रहिंदा बिच तेरे खाबी दिल नू टच कर गया कुड़िए मुखड़े दा रंग गुलाबी तेरा ए हुस्न नवाबी Let's go तेरा ए हुस्न नवाबी लगदा कोई करू खराबी तुरदी जब लक मटका के तक गबरू होण शराबी तेरा ए हुस्न नवाबी लगदा कोई करू खराबी तुरदी जब लक मटका के तक गबरू होण शराबी
That was an amazing performance.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Arpit couldn't be with us today because he just got married and he's on his honeymoon. And as
Lucky.
we all know, happy wife, happy life. So we wish him the best of luck on his new journey. And we are so happy for him. And he has been extremely supportive of our cause. And we do really wish him the best of luck on his new chapter in life.
So thank you, Arpit. If you're watching, probably not. You are probably enjoying your honeymoon. But thank you. Thank you for being there.
Thank you so much, Arpit. He's been very gracious.
Yeah. I mean, I think Christine was kind of foreshadowing for something in the future. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to show everyone what we're talking about. Oh my God! She just got recently engaged.
I did.
Shout out.
Fiance moment.
Wow. It's a nice ring.
Yes, I can say that myself.
I could see it. But anyway, yes. So what a great performance. What a great time we're having. Thank you again for everyone who's been donating. And speaking of donating, here's a little update that we just received. So with our 16 total donations, we have raised a total of $950. That is insane.
That is crazy. That
Wow.
is so amazing. Let's see if we can break 1,000.
1,000? I think we could break 1,000. You know
Let's
what?
go for it.
Let's go for it. Let's do it. Come on.
That's so amazing.
Wow.
Thank you so much to the audience. You have no idea how much this means. I mean, Julie and I, we were not optimistic at all. We were like, if we get $100,
I was
that's.
optimistic.
I was like, if we just get $100, I think that's more than enough. But well, we thank you so much as viewers. Thank you so much for your donations, and we hope that you really enjoyed this performance. Definitely.
Yeah, and it means a lot, especially since the whole idea of this event really came in fruition like within what 11 weeks of planning?
11 weeks of planning for sure.
And with that said, so thank you again for donating, and I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of this program as we are going to move on to our next performer. Our next performer is a producer and singer from the LA area who is rising within the entertainment industry.
She has released over 8 of her own singles and was deemed a producer that everyone should know by Billboard.
Within her music, Kelleia incorporates traditional Korean instruments to connect the deep emotions, melodies, and rhythms she aims to produce.
This is Kelleia.
I gave you something that was me wondering about where we stood that night. I didn't turn out the light so you could see me. I was your first love. Was it because we were the only ones out there? I let you put down my hair so you could feel it. Where you going tonight? I wanna to myself. Gave your all to someone else. I let you bleed me. Where you going tonight? Wanted you to see I got so much to tell you. Know where you come
Wow, what a beautiful performance. The production too. Yes. Yeah. So
Loved it.
Kelleia, we have Kelleia here today. It's so exciting that she's here to join us and to join us for a live Q&A. So Kelleia, some of your work includes traditional Korean instruments. What inspired you to choose traditional Korean instruments over, say, other common instruments?
Right. My parents. Hi. It's nice. Thank Right. My parents both immigrated from Korea, and I think my mom went through this process of exploring all of the outstanding things she wanted to, and I got to witness that as a child. So one of the things that a hobby she picked up maybe in her 30s or 40s, I can't remember, was playing the Tmrw, which is this traditional like double-sided Korean drum. And she would play it. She found some group in Koreatown in Los Angeles, and she would take a lesson, once a week, and then play the very simple thing in her bedroom, almost as like a evening winding down activity. And so as a kid growing up, I would just hear the sort of like muffled echo of her playing this like pattern over and over. So I feel like it's one of those things that just gets instilled in one's psyche. And I found it, and then in so many ways, I kind of did the same thing, where then I wanted to find something that was authentic to me. I think that creating music really means finding your own essence, finding your sound. And of course, it's going to be a mixture of all of the songs that you love singing along to. And then it's also maybe what your parents liked, and then for me, it's always been about maybe tying in the stories of my family. So that's why I think for some of the songs I went, and I also like thinking of it almost as like a project, like maybe like a college class where it's like, okay, for this season of songs that I'm going to write, like, let me constrict my choices so that I can make something more specific. And then I also doubled it with like researching Korean shamanism and Korean folk songs, maybe even songs that like my grandparents would sing that I wanted to memorialize. So yeah.
It's a little blend of, your environment, your childhood, everything just all together and really making it your own. So that's really cool.
Thanks.
So coming from LA, how is, being from the LA area and moving to the New York City area, how has that affected you as an artist?
I would say it's actually made me renewed, because I think when you've been in one place for a long time, at least for me, and you're running that same cycle, it's like, I'm just thinking of a washing machine. Like if you run the same washing machine cycle without like putting in a washing machine cleaner tablet, then maybe you'll get some gunk on there, and then you might just like not clean your clothes as well. You won't be as effective. And so I think in some ways I maybe diluted who I was, or I just forgot who I was along the way. So then being here and meeting people that I don't know and being able to present myself and find inspiration from a city that I do know. I lived here for a few years earlier in my life. But yeah, to come at it for a different reason and to rewrite the narrative of who I am as an artist, what I want to select as my bio, or, you know, really what I mean when I say that is more choosing who I am in this moment and then going for that. So
yeah. I definitely relate to that. I think a lot of people don't realize, but creatives definitely need a change of pace once in a while. Otherwise, our creativity can sometimes fall stagnant. I think that's definitely what I got from your washing machine analogy for sure. Definitely, which was very good imagery.
It was a really
It's
good
very
analogy.
creative
I like that.
imagery, definitely. So we just wanted to ask, what can your viewers and especially your fans do to help the AAPI community, and where can we find more of your work?
yeah, okay. Viewers and fans. I think sometimes, okay, what can viewers and fans do to support the AAPI community?
It's a deep question. It's a loaded question.
I guess stay open, stay tender in your heart, you know, ask questions. And when I say this, I guess I'm referring to, I think that as we get older, sometimes we can get more stuck or just fixed in what we believe to be true. And I'm even speaking for myself. And I think just to like maintain that like flexibility, I find that maybe starting with your body, and to just remember that you can move and twist, and that also like your mentality about maybe these internalized racist ideas that even I have towards maybe darker skinned people or lighter skinned people, or just my place in that spectrum, to remain open. That's the kind of thought that I would want to proliferate.
Yeah, openness is so key, I think, in terms of
Yeah.
accepting others, and it's so important that you definitely mentioned that. And so, how can the audience, where can the audience find you after the show, and where is some of your work? Where can we find some of your work?
Yeah, I like to move people towards Bandcamp. I find that Bandcamp has just been a really nice resource for independent artists, especially during the pandemic. Once a month, every Friday, maybe other artists have mentioned this, I don't know, but Bandcamp relinquishes their cut of the distribution fees. So the artists really retain 100% of whatever you pay for their music those days. And that's been huge for me, really, is like, I think for a young and emerging independent artist, especially, getting that validation from others that, you know, this is valuable. And so, yeah, I would say go to kelleia.bandcamp.com. I sort of made a joke with my friends, but it's real. You can also Venmo me at Catgrass, you know.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of the Asian way too, you know, like, and I think it's a way of our like ancestors giving us the freedom to do what we want. It's like when you don't see someone for a long time, you're like, okay, I'm going to give you some money before you go.
Oh,
if it's not money, it's food. But,
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, of course I'm on Spotify. I'm like on all of the big digital platforms, but I would say, if for those who don't know about Bandcamp, I think that it's just a great way to even just collect your music. I love their interface, and you can sell merch and
Absolutely, yeah.
That's
It's
very cool.
it's very helpful for artists for sure.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, Kelleia. Of course, for the audience, her information, her Instagram handle is in the description box below. So feel free to also follow her to keep in the loop with upcoming projects as well as some of her other links. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again. It was a pleasure meeting
everyone,
you.
yes, it's a pleasure meeting you. And everyone, one last round of applause for Kelleia.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then we'll see you. And,
Okay.
Yep. And now for our next performer, he is a renowned beatboxer who has won the title of being the 2018 American Loop Station Beatbox Champion. Sung Beats proves to be an extraordinarily talented with his talents. Extraordinarily talented with his beatboxing, excuse me.
Same thing. Talent is talent. And in the near future, he is even set to represent America in the upcoming 2021 Grand Beatbox Battle hosted in Poland. Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, Sung Beats has previously performed with Forbes, LG, McDonald's, AT&T, and many others to pursue his art.
Wow, he said, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Anyway, he has revolutionized the use of vocal instrumentation and live looping to create a brand new style of his own, which is how he shares his passion and love to the rest of the world.
This is Sung Beats.
Yo, what is going on, Impact USA? Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here supporting the cause, to rally against Asian racism. My name is Sung Beats. I'm a beatboxer from New York City, and I make music with a human voice. We're going to get to the loop station in a second, but I'm going to first do a little bit of a solo beatbox just like this. I hope you guys enjoy. Listen. Stop Asian hate. Stop after the Asian after the hate. Check this out. We're gonna build a beat on the loop station like this.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. That was a mind-blowing, like actually a very mind-blowing performance.
And it's all the human
Yeah.
voice. Isn't that crazy? It's all the human voice. So we are very fortunate to have Sung here on the line with us. Hey, Sung.
What's up? How you doing, guys?
Good.
Well, Sung, you have a very impressive beatbox career. What inspired you to pursue your dream of beatboxing, and how did you conquer those obstacles that stood in your way?
It's a long story, but I guess I could start with like I was in high school. I think I was 13 years old, and I saw this is I'm an old man, so like this is before YouTube existed, guys. I saw this guy on ebumsworld.com. He was beatboxing like crazy. And then from that moment on, I still remember very clearly, like I just decided, hey, I gotta freaking learn this and I'm gonna do this forever. And that's kind of what happened. Initially, I was really bad at it, believe it or not. A lot of the kids in school used to like poke fun at me. They told me to shut up, be quiet. High school kids are pretty brutal back then. But I never let those comments get to me, and I just kept going, all these years. And I guess now it's 18 years later, like this is what I do full time. So it's been a huge blessing. I love to beatbox. I love music. And yeah, have there been challenges? Of course, like, being Asian, obviously, like there's the family pressures to pursue something different that's not music, lawyer, doctor, the drill. But I stuck with it. I stuck with, my truth and my path and what I think is my calling. And over time, it's funny how like your parents, once you start like doing a little bit better and start getting a little bit of success, like they'll quickly turn around. So like they're only against you in the beginning because they worry for you. It's like a genuine concern. But after you prove to them that like this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to be good at it, they'll turn around. They'll turn around and they'll support you, which is pretty dope. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Parents at the end of the day, they love their own kids, right? Or at least most parents, at least to our knowledge. But yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of other artists also mentioned the same exact thing that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, that was previously mentioned. But anyway, what does being a member of the AAPI community mean to you?
Definitely. Well, I'm Korean American, as you guys know, and I grew up in a very, very like highly populated Korean American community. I grew up in Leonia, New Jersey, which is like, I think it's 40% Korean. So like I've always really valued and I've never been shy to like embrace my kind of Asianness. I'm very proud of like, I'm not just speaking about Koreans, but like I guess I could say generally like Asian culture in general. We have great work ethic, we have strong values, a great culture, amazing food. And like I've never been shy to embrace that, and like I just want to keep spreading, my Asianness as I keep evolving as an artist, and hopefully inspire a lot of like even like the youth to pursue their dreams. And like it is possible, especially nowadays in 2021, with I call it the Asian revolution happening in the music industry and entertainment. Like it's definitely possible, and more than ever right now. So guys, if you're doing music or whatever, any creative guys out there, just go for it. Obviously, like, be a little bit self-aware. You guys obviously need to put a lot of work and practice, but if you think you have the skills, go for it. And I promise you, long-term, it will pay off.
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing it. Yeah, we're seeing it happen. Definitely. And, Sung, you mentioned that you were Korean American. Has being a minority ever hindered you in any sort of way? Have you ever encountered racism during your entire journey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are pros and cons. Like, let me tell you a story. Like, so when I perform, usually, this is what I experience. I think that this is what kind of like the perception I give off. People tend to kind of really downplay like my abilities. Because I'm Asian, like people just have a tendency to judge, and that's just the way human nature is. So they see this guy on stage, about to perform, and they probably like think like, what's this guy doing? Like, he's not gonna do anything, right? And then I think kind of like the other side of that is it's almost an advantage, because if you really got the skills and the talent and you perform your butt off and you really kill it on stage, then it's like the impact is even greater. It's like because their expectations were so low that once you kill it, like they're like, wow, this guy's really got it. So in some ways it's been difficult, in some ways it's been advantageous. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very hip hop mentality, like blow people away with your skill and be able to like transcend judgment and stereotyping and so on and so forth. So definitely that is very, very admirable. So Sun, can you let the audience know where can we find more of your work?
Definitely across the board, Sung Beats, SUNGBEATS, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok a little bit, but it's all at Sung Beats across the board. Yeah, feel free to, probably Instagram is the best way to, link.
Yeah, and his Instagram handle for the audience is in the description box below. You can find him at Sung Beats. Feel free to follow him so that you can keep up with a lot of his upcoming work as well as a lot of his previous work as well. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sung Beats. Sung Beats, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you. All right, so let's talk about our next artist. After breaking through an environment where she was not encouraged to pursue music professionally, Lilee chose to let her sound be heard. Due to these circumstances, her sound has been quietly intense and refuses to not grow. A Korean-American soul pop artist from New York City, Lilee rehearses a sound that is smoky and sensual and unique. Her biggest inspirations? Aretha Franklin, Amy Winehouse, Florence and the Machine, Fiona Apple, LP, and Lana Del Rey. This is Lilee.
We are kneeling at the water's edge and tempting all the steps to follow closer right behind. Is it only when you feel a pot is empty that it's gnawing at the corners of your mind? I will ask you for mercy. I will come to you blind. What you see is the worst me, not the last of my kind. Oh, in muddy water we're falling. Oh, in the muddy water we're crawling. Nose me down, hold me now, sold me out. In the muddy water we're falling. Hum, hum. Hum, hum. It is not clear why we choose the fire pathway. Where we end is not the way that we had planned. All the spirits gather around like it's our last day. To get across, you know we'll have to raise a stand. I will ask you for mercy. I will come to you blind. What you see is the worst me, not the last of my kind. Oh, in the muddy water we're falling. Oh, in the muddy water we're crying. Hold me down, hold me now, sold me out. In the muddy water we're falling. In the muddy water, in the muddy water, in the muddy water. Hold me now, sold me out. In the muddy water we're falling.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. That what a,
So soulful, truly.
and we're actually the
You were stunned by that performance,
I
weren't
was
you?
really- we're actually joined here now by Lilee. Hey Lilee, how's it going?
Hi, it's so good to see you guys, and thanks for having me.
It's so amazing to
here.
have you as an artist. And
Of course.
I'm gonna ask you a little bit about yourself. So you mentioned prior that you were not encouraged to pursue music professionally. So how was it like being doubted and warned against following the dream of singing by the people around you?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a lot of us have mentioned on this concert and interview so far, one of the challenging parts of coming from an Asian family is the pressure to fulfill a certain future that, you know, your parents have sort of planned out for you. And it was the same for me. And it was anything that's deemed reputable, such as doctors, lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. So I did follow that path, and I worked in finance for a number of years, and I felt that I was suffering a lot. And at the end of it, I really just had to quit and, you know, live a dream for myself and not for someone else. And it really was a tough time, you know, just getting started without really much background in music, just, you know, my passion in music. And whenever doubts came up, it was just like something that I had to deal with. And I think it was a really great time of growth, really, because every time those doubts came from me or someone else, my desire to create really kind of trumped over those doubts. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I think that I really want this. And it was just that time of affirmation for myself. So all in all, I think I needed that time. And all in all, I think it turned out good.
Yeah,
Love to hear it,
definitely.
actually.
Yeah.
About the whole pivot story, starting from one place and going in another direction, and really just pursuing what you're passionate about. That is awesome.
Yeah, that is the
Yeah.
passion right there, definitely.
Seriously. So, what does being a member of the AAPI community mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think being in the AAPI community means being united in the purpose of raising up each other, as well as fighting for each other in the community in this difficult time of, you know, COVID, in addition to racism that we're facing right now. So many of us have spoken up already, and I think that's really inspiring, you know, all across the world, not only in the US, but like all across the world. And, you know, seeing elderly grandma getting, you know, hit in San Francisco. I mean, I just think about my grandma, you know, who raised me. And then you see someone getting slashed in the face in New York. And then I think about my dad. And, you know, I think that the API community is like that. You know, we think about each other sort of as extended family. We see each other as one community. And I think that's really what's so beautiful about our community. And, you know, what's going on is unacceptable. And, you know, we're all speaking up about it. So hopefully we see, you know, a decrease in it or an end to it soon.
Absolutely. And, you know, you mentioned you had a previous career in finance and now in music. You know, those are two completely diverse careers. Has being a minority ever hindered you in either career, or have you ever seen racism in an office environment or even a music environment that has really hindered you as a person?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely common, and I think it's done in ways sometimes that where people don't realize what they're doing. But I think especially in the music industry, as a Asian female, you know, you're often underestimated, especially in pop, I think. And so I think for me, I try to think of it as a way to be stronger and grow. And I think that has worked for me. I think if I were to succumb to the pressures or succumb to doubts and things like that, I don't think that I would be doing what I'm doing. So definitely use it to your advantage.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're really taking that extra step to overcome any of those obstacles in front of you.
Yeah.
So that's what is something you want to encourage others to do to, you know, not only improve in themselves, but also to help fight against this AAPI racism?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the artists mentioned it, but, you know, the New York City subway constantly plays, you know, if you see something, say something. So I think continuing to speak up about whatever you see, whatever you hear, wherever you are. I think especially at work, I think it's really difficult to speak up at work, but I think it's so important to speak up at work. Corporations are so powerful in this country, and I think they definitely need to do more to create a safe space for Asian Americans in this country. And so, yeah, continue to speak up, continue to speak up for you, but also others around you. And like I sang about in Muddy Water, you know, currently we are all trudging through this difficult, muddy, dirty water. But I think that, you know, as long as we stay together and fight this together as a community, we'll come out of it better and stronger. So yeah, like seriously, we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. Let's do this together.
Absolutely. Preach. Say it again.
I got the chills when I heard that. Yes.
Tell them. You tell them.
Woo, yes.
Of course, Lilee, where can we find more of your work and what can we expect next for the future?
Yeah, I do have some new music coming out soon. So you can find all that information at Instagram at I am Lilee, Lilee. I think that would be the easiest place to find me.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Everyone, her Instagram handle, once again, is in the description box below, along with donation links. Well, once again, this is Lilee, and we thank you so much for joining us here today, Lilee. And let's give her one last round of applause.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, during this live stream, we have seen so many incredible acts and learned how amazing each artist is, truly, and how talented they are. It's really been an incredible experience through and through. For
Seriously,
sure.
yeah.
And speaking of our donation pot, we are currently at $995.10. Thank you to the person who donated 10 cents.
Big shout out to the 10 cents. But wow, that is insane.
Incredible. That is so incredible.
You know what? I might just donate that 7 and make it a flat.
You know what? Yeah.
Make it a flat.
Crest over the
1,000.
1,000 mark if possible. Crest over. But that is so incredible. It just really comes to show how amazing you as a viewer are and how much you are actually influencing and making a change, especially for the AAPI community during this time when we need it the most.
Seriously. And yeah, big shout out. Thank you all to all of our artists. And once again, our audience and the donors for today, making this event even possible. So big thank you again.
Absolutely. And thank you to the Impact Vora team who has worked
Oh
so tirelessly on this project.
Craziness.
The youngest
Good.
member of our team is only 14 years old.
Insane.
And yeah, and every single one of them, age has not been a limitation for them. They just want to help. They want to wholeheartedly dedicate themselves to this cause. And it really, really has meant a lot and has created such a change, definitely.
Seriously.
And so last but certainly not least, thank you, the viewers, for joining us today and being so supportive.
Thank you. You guys rock. But anyway, with all that said, this does conclude our program for today. I hope everyone has a fun night and or afternoon, depending on what time of the day you're in. And please remember, stay safe out there and stay healthy.
Good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Everyone. Good night. Wow.